Hey there. Welcome to session 3 of our Getting Started series, where we will be talking about how to juggle homeschool and being a parent. This is a topic that I am so excited to discuss, Audra, because when you choose to homeschool, you just became a teacher, a mom, a cook, a maid. The job description list goes on, and so many moms say, "I could never do what you do." And one common thing I hear is I butt heads with my kids. How could I do that? Or how do you deal with the drama all day and all these different things? And so we're going to touch a little bit on that today. Audra and I are going to share our experiences. We're going to share some resources that have helped us in this journey and really just give you a good foundation of how to juggle being a parent and being a homeschool parent as well. So welcome back, Audra. I'm excited to have you here.
It's good to be back.
Yeah. So what do you have to say about some of this crazy being a homeschool mom thing? Is it easy? Is it smooth sailing once you make the decision? It's just all rainbows and unicorns and everything's great?
Well, that's wishful thinking.
uh,
But honestly, homeschooling is the best hard thing you will
mhm.
ever do.
I
It is
love
the
that.
best.
I
It's
love
the
that.
best, but it is not easy, and it's
Correct.
not for the faint of heart, for sure.
Right.
There's going to
But
be some
neither is
challenges.
parenting, right? Neither
No,
is
truly,
parenting.
I haven't figured out what in life really is easy.
Totally.
I mean, driving
Right.
down the road can be
It
complicated
can.
when you have
Anything
a
worth
crazy
it
driver.
is hard, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I want to kind of bring up or to highlight, or we want to discuss a little bit, is the
Right.
reality of bringing a child home from a public school setting or even raising them up is that you are with your children 24/7.
Right.
And I know that's terrifying to some parents, but it's okay. It's a good thing. You want them with you. You want to be with them. And
Right.
it's a challenge that can be met and it can
Yes.
be addressed and done. If somewhat imperfectly, it can be
Right.
done.
Yes, and done well, and it's worth it. It's worth the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it, and what we wanna express to moms today is, you know, it is hard, and so you're not alone.
Yeah.
We don't want you to think that this is, you see the picture perfect homeschool mom, on the internet and, oh, they have it all together and everything's always perfect. It's not. This is real life. You're
Mm-hmm.
taking however many myself and however many children you have, that many sinners, and you're putting them all in one place all day long, and there's no possible way it's going to run perfect and smooth all the time. But
Right.
one thing I want to say is I think we need to alter our idea of what is perfect. Perfect doesn't mean no conflict. Perfect doesn't mean
Right.
nothing is ever hard. Perfect means that we can work through those character issues. We can work through those conflicts
Right.
together and get out the other side stronger and just ready for life in a more equipped way.
Well, we're figuring out life together is what
Yes.
it is. We're
Yes.
figuring it out. It's an adventure, and like any adventure, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be
Yes.
struggles, but you get through it together. And
Right.
that's
Right.
that's the and that's how I kind of view homeschooling. Truly, that's kind of my byword for homeschooling is it's an adventure.
Right.
And
Right.
every day is a little different. Every day has
Yep.
some challenges. But in all
Okay,
honesty,
so yeah.
go ahead.
So what about the question when a parent says, my kid's so much harder for me. I never heard from their teachers that they were this difficult. Their behavior and attitude seems to be harder at home. What would you say to that?
Well, one of the things you have to remember is in a school setting, those behaviors and attitudes kind of are diffused among multiple people. So
Mm,
their teacher will deal with it in the classroom, the administrator principal might bump into it here or there. The lunch lady might deal with this component of
right.
it. And so no one person has ever had to like deal with all the incongruities and inconsistencies and little character flaws
Right.
of your child, our children, all at one time, all in one space, all coming to one person,
Right. All the
and
time.
all the time. So
Right.
really, what you're seeing in your children when you bring them home probably isn't like this massive rebellion. I hate homeschooling. Life is miserable. Why
Totally.
did you do this to me? A lot of that, those things were probably already there. They just weren't in your face. And so
Absolutely.
remembering that and dealing with those kind of a little at a time on a day-to-day basis is going to help you not feel so overwhelmed.
For sure.
Um,
For sure. And know that you
so,
can take breaks, your
mhm,
kid needs a break from you as much as you need a break from them to regroup,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that I think too is people say, "Well, it's so hard in the summer when they come home. It can be very challenging. I can't imagine doing that all year." We deal with the sibling fights and we deal with the this and the that during Christmas break or summer break. Like that's when parents seem to see their kids on a 24/7 and that's
Right.
when they see these. And I say to that is, well, that's because you're sending them out of your home for, X amount of hours a day, X amount of days a week, X amount of months, a year to be taught and trained as to what is acceptable to somebody else. And then they're
Right.
bringing those things home. So when you homeschool, you get to tell your children what is an acceptable way in your home to relate to one another.
Right.
You're setting the moral code in your home. And so you're teaching and training them how to respond to situations. So, of course, it's difficult when you send them out to be trained and then they come home and have a different set of expectations. So, in time, many of those things will go away, not completely, because
Right.
what we're doing is we're character training.
Right.
We are not just academically teaching our children, are we?
No, no, it is as much character training. And in fact, a lot of times our academic endeavors in our home can be derailed by character issues.
Absolutely.
And that's a common thing that will happen, but we have to recognize that the character training always comes before academic training.
For sure.
And sometimes that means the academics, you push pause and you set that to the side and you deal with the
Yep.
character issue.
And then when you come back, you realize the academic issues kind of just resolve themselves because
They do.
everybody's
They do.
attitude and heart is back where it needs to be. It reminds me of the verse that says, "Seek first the kingdom of God,
Oh my God.
and
Yep.
all these things will be given to you." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I notice that a lot in my own children. The things that I'm battling every day, I wouldn't need to battle if we can just get to
Mhm.
the root of the character issue.
Exactly, exactly.
For
Well, and
sure.
one of the things about going, that back and forth for especially for parents who've had kids in the public school and are thinking about homeschooling, that summer versus school year
Right.
switch is one of the things that you'll find there too is that during the school year, your life is very regimented, very routine, very
Right.
scheduled. Then the
Yeah.
holidays come along or summer comes along and it's a
Yeah.
free for all.
Totally.
And honestly, even as a homeschool parent, I know that I deal with less behavioral issues during the school year because our
For sure.
routine
Yep.
is more scheduled,
Yep.
more,
Kids know what
just
to expect. They
the
know what's
expectations are
expected of
clear.
them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
So if you're basing
there's a
it
plethora
off
of reasons.
summer break, you're not getting an accurate idea of what it's gonna be like.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
That's
And
precisely.
very good, very good. So when it comes to character training and training the heart of our children, do you have any wisdom or any great resources in that area?
Sure, I have a lot of favorites, and I know
Okay.
you do too, and I'll share a few
Yes.
of mine. But one of the things that
Perfect.
I found valuable in terms of resources is resources on parenting that come from the perspective of a homeschool parent. And
Excellent.
remarkably, there's actually a lot of those resources available. Some of them, for instance, one that I really appreciate her perspective is Heidi St. John, and
Mhm.
she's got a number. I'm trying to get us
There
in
you
the right
go.
spot here
There you go.
so everybody can see it.
Yes.
This is just one of her books that really talk to the heart of a homeschool mom,
Mhm.
that deal with our attitudes and our personal struggles, which I find really a blessing.
Yes. Yes, because
Um,
I've found that when we can deal with our own issues, miraculously everything kinda settles down at home. Like,
well,
it's not
and
just the
there's
children.
no, it isn't. And truly, I'm the fact that we as especially as moms, most often homeschooling parents, the homeschool parent is the mom.
Right.
And one of the things to remember is that you've got to deal with your own heart and your own
Absolutely.
sin and your own weaknesses on a regular basis and your
Right.
relationship with God in order to maintain the right your attitude and your spiritual tone sets the
Right.
tone for your
For
whole
the whole
homeschool day.
family. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so we've got to make sure we're feeding the spiritual part of our lives, that we are interacting and
Right.
engaged with God on a regular
Yes. Our
basis.
kids are looking to us for that consistency, and we have got to be
Exactly.
looking to God so that we can be that example to them. It's a tiered
Yes. It's a
it's
tiered,
yes.
it's a top down.
It absolutely is.
And the
So,
more we're
okay, what else
submitted.
do you have?
Okay. Another couple of resources I really like is anything by the Scheibners.
Okay.
This is one, Bible Basics. This is just an example of a kind of a curriculum that covers Bible basics. But I also have Mrs. Scheibner, Megan Scheibner, has a number of books that deal with, A to Z character training in your home, that kind of takes the alphabet and applies a character trait to
Right.
kind of cue, here's what we're trying to actually teach our kids,
Right.
and some tips and tricks to do that. I know another one that I really appreciate is Todd Wilson.
Yes.
And
From a
this one's like
dad's perspective, which is so great.
It is, because sometimes us moms, we kind of get lost in our emotionally driven minds.
Right.
And it's really nice to get a perspective from a godly father, a husband,
Right.
who's encouraging. And another one that he writes is called Lies That Homeschool Moms Believe.
Yes.
That's also a great resource. This was a lot of fun to read. So I appreciate.
I have not read that one.
Humor.
I'm excited. Lies That Homeschool Moms Believe is an excellent one as well.
An excellent resource. I would recommend that to every homeschool mom. Rachel Carmen is another one. This one is How to Have a Heart for Your Kids. And her stuff really deals with the attitudes we have towards our children. Because again, if you're in constant contact with your children, sometimes our attitude shifts in a very negative way towards our kids. And
it does.
It's hard to see it because it's a slow shift.
That's for sure. I think we're right here with our kids every day. And like you said before, when they're in the public school, those teachers can zoom out and they can see the bigger picture, and they're sharing with the music teacher, the art teacher. It's not right here to them every day. So they can pick and choose the big things to address, and they're able to let the other things go. And we as homeschool moms forget that we also need to do that. We need to be able to zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what we're doing, and not do the little tiny nitpicking and let everything send us over the top, because that will provoke our children and it will kill our heart for what we're doing. And so we do need to be able to zoom out. And one thing that a resource that I have that I love, that's so hard to see. It's called Wise Words for Moms, and it's by Ginger Hubbard. And it's not a book. What it is it's just a great little pamphlet-y thing, a chart. And because when you're in that moment and your child is doing something, and you probably have a baby on your hip and an older kid that needs help with math, and dinner is boiling, and you just often you react in emotion rather than respond in a way that will benefit your child. This really helps you to step away. It's so easy. You find the character or the issue, the problem that they did, and then it points you to verses. It walks you through so that emotions aren't getting involved and you're stepping through. And another one that does that is called the Child Training Bible. And there's another one called the Virtue Training Bible. And it basically just helps you. You find what's going on. It points you to God's word, and then it walks you through the steps to help your child deal with that character issue. So that if your I'll say the word, your hormones are off that week, because moms, you don't get to send them away when that happens. They're with you. So when you're struggling with that, or the emotions, or another child is doing something else, or the phone is ringing, it brings you back to a place where sometimes you feel like, I just don't know what to say right now, and I don't want to respond emotionally. So those are incredible resources to have. Another one is Ginger Hubbard's Don't Make Me Count to 3. And
that's a good one.
I love that one. Ginger Hubbard is incredible in this area of child training. And then Shepherding a Child's Heart by Ted Tripp.
Excellent.
And I think that's really where we need to go, is we are teaching and training to a child's heart, not a number, not a kid in a box. These are our children. So, so amazing resources, Audra.
Yes.
Thank you.
And one of the things I wanted to add to this equation is that as a homeschool mom, just remember, you're not the only one dealing with these struggles. Okay. This is not unique to you. It's something you're going to deal with. And so, again, character training, sometimes our resource is the homeschool mom who's been there before us.
Yes. I think that's the best resource. Aside from the Lord himself, I think that is one of the best resources.
So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and find that homeschool mom who's 4 or 5 years ahead of you, and pick her brain and ask her to pray for you. Ask her wisdom. And that is probably my number one suggestion for a resource is find another godly homeschooling mom who's just a little
Absolutely.
farther down the road.
Yes, for sure. And I want to leave you with this is probably my greatest advice is you are not bound to a 9 to 3 school day. So if you are having a
Right.
struggle and your child is falling apart over math, zoom out, pack up the books, go for a walk, get a new
Yeah.
perspective, look at your child through the eyes of the Lord and not just as a student doing math.
Hmm.
That is the freedom of homeschool is you can
Yes.
step back when you need to. There is no need to plow through at the expense of everybody's relationships, right? Relationships
Exactly.
first, academics second.
Second.
And when you invest in those relationships, the academics will come. So don't be afraid. You don't have to get it all done by 3. You don't even have to get it all done by
At
May,
all.
at
Yeah.
all, right? So it's more important that you're able to step away and rekindle those relationships and comfort your child in that moment than to check off the box because that's going to
Absolutely.
send everybody over the top. So
Yep.
anyway, we hope
Absolutely.
this helps. And, Audra and I are available. We can point you to places to get help. If you go to Homeschool Idaho's website, you can find a local co-op. If you don't have a mom, if you don't know anybody else around you in the homeschool community, there are local groups that you can reach out to find homeschool moms that can come along. And if nothing else, they can pour a cup of coffee and cry with you. I think sometimes
Yes.
if that's all you need. So put yourself out there, look for those groups, head on over to homeschoolidaho.org and look for those groups and find yourself moms that will come alongside you and laugh and
Hmm.
cry and love on your kids with you.
Yes.
So awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Hmm.
And next, we join back for the teaching. We're going to talk about teaching and learning styles in session 4. If you missed the first 3 sessions, again, Homeschool Idaho on YouTube. You can hit all the sessions, all 10 in this Getting Started series. And we hope this is a blessing to you. And bye bye.